right. So I'm going to start by letting you introduce yourself and just tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm Jen Hazzard. I am 36 years old and didn't get into powerlifting until a little bit later in life. I think I did my first meet when I was 30. I am a full-time chemistry teacher at a high school in upstate New York. I have I'm a mom to a beautiful, smart little 7-year-old boy. And outside of that, I have a lot of hobbies. I know that was one of the
We'll get to those
homework questions, but that's pretty much it. I love competing, and it's a big part of my life, and I'm really excited to talk about it a little bit here with you.
Awesome. So one of the first questions that I do ask everybody is, growing up, obviously most men were introduced to the sport because between strongman and wrestling and the Arnold and everything else, it was on every television station, magazine stand. They could find it anywhere. It wasn't really that way for women. So how were you introduced to the sport, and when was that moment that you decided that you wanted to be strong?
So before I got into powerlifting, I was actually a distance runner. And I wasn't very good at it or anything, or like maybe at like local races, sometimes I would place in the top 3, but like my times were never anything fabulous. I just kind of did it as a way to stay in shape. But growing up, I was not athletic at all. I participated in sports a little bit. Like I would play like city league softball. I played modified soccer, but that was like the team that nobody got cut from. But I was never an athlete growing up. I was actually in the band. I played the trumpet, but I ran, and then I would go to the gym and I would like lift like a little bit. Like I would do like some light shoulders or like bicep curls and stuff, and then I would run on the treadmill. And so I did notice that there was a group of guys at my gym that lifted. And, one day some of them were like, you should come see like what you can do. Like, bet you're pretty strong. You should like cut out that running nonsense. And I was like, oh, I don't know. And so I went over one day and they had a deadlift bar set up. I didn't even know what a deadlift was. I don't even think I had heard the word before, which I think speaks a little bit to the fact that powerlifting isn't like, or at least it's blown up a lot, I feel like, in the past 6 years, but like around the time I started, it really wasn't as popular of a sport, at least like mainstream. And I think social media has kind of amped it up in the past few years, but they taught me how to deadlift. And the first day I ever deadlifted ever, which I probably weighed about 105 soaking wet at the time, I deadlifted 205, and they were like, holy shit, like that's kind of a lot for like, you've never deadlifted before and you weigh like 100 pounds.
Right.
And I was like, oh, really? That's good. Cool. And I liked it. So, a couple days a week, I would lift a little bit, and I got into it a little bit more. And I did my first meet after I had been like training for just a couple months. I like jumped into one. And I actually did my first and a marathon, a full marathon. So I was still like a little like string bean at the time. But I was like into it immediately, and I kept running for a little while after I started lifting. But when I started getting a little bit more serious about competing and like setting goals and things like that, I couldn't do both anymore, like I had prior. So did I have anybody to watch growing up that was into strength sports? No, not at all. Like I said, I didn't even know what a deadlift was prior to that first day. But I'm glad that I had friends at the gym to like get me into it, teach me like what good form looked like, to get me started. And I've been in love with it ever since.
Right. So I pulled all your numbers because I always do for every lifter. Your first meet was in November of 2015, and you've done 16 meets, all raw. Do you have any intention of getting into gear?
Yeah, I think eventually I would like to try. I'd like to do, see what I can do single ply and then maybe see what I can do multi-ply. I know that my training partners would love that and look forward to that day. But there's still quite a bit that I want to do raw first. I have a goal of I'd love a 600 Wilks. I know a lot of people don't really like Wilks score, and now we have like dots and whatever else, but that was always that's been a goal of mine for a couple of years now, is to be and for total, I would love to be top 10 raw total. And I've had my eye on an all-time world record deadlift for a while too, and I'd love to take another shot at that before I go equipped. So I've got some stuff I still want to do raw, but I think that I will. I don't think I'll go up a weight class. I always thought maybe I'd go to a 148 first, but I think I'll just stay where I'm at and then probably go into gear after that. Next couple of years, probably.
I got a platform in July. You can go for that deadlift record on again.
I mean, I'd love to think that I break it before then, but if not, then
I'm just saying. I hope you break it before then too, but if not,
I'll be there.
Yeah, I will say I'm rather surprised that your training partners don't have you in gear yet.
I actually, when I first hurt my adductor skiing in 2019, was it 2019? Well, anyway, when I first started lifting with them, like right as soon as like COVID happened, which I'm eternally grateful for, and it has given me some of the best friends I've ever had through my Gorilla Pack.
I was just gonna say, for anybody watching this that doesn't know, Jen is a member of the Gorilla Pack. So
yeah, and they've become like family to me. So I'm very grateful to them for inviting me in to, when COVID happened, because I didn't have anywhere to train. So very grateful. But I had an injury that I got skiing, which again, I'm not athletic, so I probably have no business skiing. I'm also very accident prone, which anybody in Gorilla Pack will tell. I get hurt like every time we're training, not lifting, like tripping over something. Like I'm like a baby giraffe, like running around the gym. It's ridiculous. But I was using a single ply suit to it basically looked like a singlet. It was like a thick singlet.
Mhm.
And I was training in that to be able to squat with a hurt groin, because they kept telling me nothing was wrong with it. So the only way I could keep training, because it would hurt me, was to be in that suit. So I actually squatted in that suit for probably 6 months while I like recovered my groin from that first injury. And I got up to my best in a single ply was 500, which I thought was pretty cool, because I'm not historically a very strong squatter. So
Absolutely.
I look forward to putting it on though for competition. I'm actually kind of excited to see what I can do in a multiply squat suit. I'm looking forward to that day when it comes.
So of those 16 meets that you've competed in, like I said, all of which are raw, you've taken first in every one of them. So that's an impressive, like that's huge. So congratulations on that. That's monstrous. Your best squat. Now these are meet numbers, obviously, because open powerlifting is life. And nothing against open powerlifting. That just seems to be where everybody, if the number's not on open powerlifting, then it's not real, which, people do great things in the gym. And so I don't want to ever take away from somebody's number in a gym. But your best squat is 400, your best bench is 225, and your best deadlift is 505. That's an 1105 total. And that's a huge number for, you're in the what class are you in? 120?
132 now.
132.
Those are 132 numbers. Yeah.
So that's, I mean, that's amazing. So congratulations on that.
Thanks.
What's the deadlift number that you're looking for?
I would at 132, I would like to pull 520. And I know I can do it. I want to say I will do it. Like you want to manifest it, right?
Right.
I know it's in me. It's just things have to go right on that day, and my training has to be, I know from the couple of times I missed it in June and July, because I did attempt it twice.
Right.
And when I missed it, I know from like looking back at the video and from how I felt, like I know what I have to do. I just need the time to get that work done.
Right.
When you get toward the top of what your body's capable of, as anybody well knows, like the gains come slower. Right?
Right.
Like I think I read something like Dave Tate, I think, worked like a whole year to put 5 pounds on his total, right? Isn't that or was it Dave Tate, or who's the top total ever equipped? Who is it? It's not, who is it? Dave Hoff. Dave Hoff, not Dave Tate. Dave Hoff. Yeah.
Yes.
Dave Hoff. Yeah.
Yes.
Like 5 pounds for in a year. And that was like an enormous success. But when your total is that bit, when you're that close to like how much more can a person's body handle, like that's a big win. So, I'm not like in a huge rush to get that additional 15 pounds on there. I think it will come. It's just going to take a little bit of time. That's all.
Right. What did you, so obviously you remember your first meet. What did you take away from that first meet? Well, what was what was your favorite moment from that first meet?
My favorite moment was definitely like locking out my third attempt deadlift. Because it was a fight. I forget what did I get 225 or 235 at that? I think it was 230. I think it was 235. But it was like a little bit of a fight to lock it out, and I got it. And I just that was definitely my favorite moment. But the people and like just how encouraging everybody is, you even have and pretty much like at almost every meet I've been to, like even the judges like want you to get the lift, you know what I mean? Like everybody wants to see everybody get their lifts
On deadlift? Barry's saying your first meet in 2015, your deadlift was 250.
Oh, it was? Oh, okay.
According to Open Powerlifting.
Okay. No, that's probably right. I know whatever it was, I surprised myself because that wasn't like the most I think I had done in the gym. I think maybe it was 235. So whatever I got, I was very happy. But it was a little bit of fight. And that when I got the lockout, I knew that I was like addicted to that movement, to the sport, and everybody was just so nice and welcoming. And it was great. It was cool to do something athletic and to be like a little bit good at it when, and at the time I really wasn't anything spectacular, but it was something I enjoyed doing. And, you go and you can do well at a meet, like people do 5Ks, right? Anybody can do a powerlifting meet. And I just thought it was really cool. And it was cool to be an adult doing something competitive, so I loved it.
What's been your favorite meet so far?
Oh man.
Have one.
I don't know. I don't know if I have one. I guess if I had to pick one, it would be the meet that I did in March, which was the Tom Brown Memorial at the old fitness mill in Utica, where I got my first 500. I think it was really cool to get my 500. That was a huge milestone. But I also was coming back from, actually a year ago yesterday, I had surgery from my I blew out my adductor and I had to have it reattached. So I did PT all winter, and then that March, I was able to get, it was just like it was like a triumph for me, because the day that I blew out my adductor, I came home from surgery on crutches and just feeling very defeated and being pretty depressed because it took away my ability to do the thing that I love the most, for a hobby.
Right.
And I love training. I look forward to it. I look forward to going to the gym and seeing my friends, and like I love competing. So to have that taken away, and I knew it'd be temporary, because as soon as I came home from the hospital and was, able to think clearly, I already had started planning what I was going to do to recover and to do therapy to make sure that I was, better than I was before. And so I took my PT very seriously. So that meet was definitely like I had overcome the challenge of coming back from injury, which was to me, a big deal.
So who are some of your favorite lifters, both male and female?
Well, I would say, I still love all these people, but when I first started paying attention to other lifters, I actually really admired Allison Hind and Bekah Marhefka both very much. Becky is a raw lifter. Allison at the time was only raw, I think. And they've actually since become friends of mine. So, and they're both amazing, beautiful people inside and out. I love both of them. Very good lifters, very down to earth. And I admire both of them still, but they were definitely some of the first two. When I met them, I was kind of like, they were like celebrities to me, and I remember Allison feeling like why are you excited to meet me? Like, this is weird. I'm like a normal person. But to me, she wasn't. She was like a superhero. Always really admired Rita, who is also a real life friend of mine now, Rita West. I love Stacy Burr. She's another raw lifter. Laura Phelps Stackhouse. She's also somebody that I've always looked up to in the sport. And then for men, have always been a really big Ed Cohn fan. I always joke that he's my real dad. I'm excited. I actually get to see him in 2 weeks. I'm going to a seminar next Friday that he's going to be at with Sean Coleman, which like I said, I'm ecstatic. I can't wait to go to that. But I met him before, and he's a really cool, just down to earth guy too. And if I ever have like a question, like a training question, if I ever write to him, he'll respond, which is really cool. He loves the sport and loves coaching the sport, and he's just really nice and down to earth, and obviously super strong. And then as far as like newer lifters, I love John Hack. He's a really cool person too, very down to earth and just crazy strong. Also a very big Bob Merck fan, who's also a real life friend of mine. So it's cool that like these people that I admire, that are like, that I fangirl a little bit over, like, are actually, cool in real life, and they're people that I'm friends with now. And I still like, I see Bob Merck, and a little bit of me is like, oh my God, he's so cool. Like, I can't wait to watch him squat, but he's really they're all really nice people too, which is cool. It's a very accessible sport. You can talk to your heroes, which is neat.
Well, and let's be honest, it's really cool to watch Bob lift. I think sometimes it's even cooler to watch him dress up as a fairy princess and teach to his students. So I'm just going to put that out there. Watching him lift is amazing. Watching him teach and what he does for his students is way beyond anything he does on the platform for me.
Yeah, he's definitely cool all around. I love Bob. Great guy.
Yeah. So how do you feel about our sport in general and the progression of female powerlifters right now? Because we're kind of on the cusp of, there's some amazing things happening right now for female powerlifters.
I think it's cool. Like, I think about the time I got into the sport, it was starting to like turn a corner for females anyway. But I think, like, especially with the Main Event Project and everything that they're doing, and Girls Who Powerlift, and I don't know if you've heard of the Fem Strong Pod. It's like a podcast for female lifters, and it's where they highlight female lifters. So I think that I think we're headed in an even better direction than we've been in. I think that with social media has been great by way of making the sport more popular. I know some people don't like that. You know, I think that there's definitely a class of powerlifter that almost like doesn't want it to be popular. Like, and I understand that when you go to a meet and there's a lot of people there who haven't done it before, or, you know, I know that they'll look at some lifters and think like, oh, that person doesn't belong here. Like they don't know what I see that as like, I had my first meet once and somebody probably looked at me and thought that I didn't belong there.
Right.
And I stuck with it and it's become a big part of my life. Maybe those people don't stick with it, but I always loved that I felt like it was inclusive. And I think more than ever, it's even more inclusive. And the girls are like, I'm not just saying this because the Main Event Project, like that's the name of their, you know, organization, but like some of these meets, the women for sure are the main event. Like, you know, I went to a meet on Long Island. It was Mendelssohn's meet there. And
Shauna.
I unfortunately didn't get to go to the full power day. But I think that was the day that Leah had that monster squat. And
Yes.
like she just completely stole the show, you know?
Right.
And that's really cool because, you know, just be like for somebody my size, I'm a 132, you know, for somebody my size to pull like 5+, like that's pretty cool, you
Right.
know, and it's not a lot for, you know, a 275-pound man to pull, but you know, it's a big deal and it should be celebrated, not just for me, but for like all women, no matter what their weight class is.
Right.
And I'm just loving these. Somebody who just broke the all-time bench just this past weekend.
Amber Hansen.
Yes.
Yes. So she,
I don't know if that's official.
yeah, I don't know if it's official yet. She asked that the video be reviewed, and I'm not going to go into great detail because I get to talk to her next week, and I'm going to,
Oh, cool.
you know, I'll let her speak on that. She was given the white lights, but she has asked that bench be reviewed. And so I don't know that it's official yet. I don't know that it will be official. I think her statement actually was, as far as she's concerned,
Just the very first.
what she says was, I got a gift. Today I went back and submitted my bench for official review with the IPA. I'm happy my lifts get scrutinized after the fact, as long as my integrity as a lifter does not. Records are borrowed. In my heart, this still belongs to at Katrina, whatever it says, at Katrina B 1979. So she's asked that it be reviewed. She wasn't comfortable with the bench, not to say anything about the judges or anything that happened at the meet. She just didn't feel like she had done her job, was kind of what she said. And again, I'm going more into it than I'm really kind of comfortable.
Oh, no, that makes sense.
But it was an impressive lift. It was a lot of weight, and, you know, kudos to her. But more impressive than the lift is the integrity to get on social media and say, hey, listen, scrutinize my lift all day long, but I don't want my integrity scrutinized. And so I'm really looking forward to talking to her next week. I mean, I already was, don't get me wrong, like total fangirl here.
Yeah, I know.
So can't wait to talk to her about all the things. But yeah, so I mean, I think that speaks volumes for the female side of lifting, as well as, and not that men don't, but we are absolutely like, hey, listen, I don't know if I want that lift. It's not that I don't want it, it's that I'm not comfortable with it, you know, like that just huge.
Well, no, I think that says a lot about her as a lifter, like integrity wise. I think that that's really cool. That's still, I mean, even if it was close, that's still super impressive. But like, those are the types of lifts that are happening more and more. Like, women are getting these huge lifts.
Right.
And I know, like, I've been to meets where, you know, they'll have the female day and the male day, or the women are like the first half and men are the second half, or the women are usually, obviously we're the earlier flights because
Right.
of weight. But like, I can't tell you how many meets I've done where, like, you know, I'm competing in flight 1 and there's like nobody there, and then the men are up. And this isn't to say that they're not exciting to watch, they totally are, but like, I get just as jazzed cheering for flight 1, you know, deadlifts for women as I do for the flight 3 men. You know,
Yeah.
it's still like, it's still a big deal, it's a big deal. And I wish that, and it is going in that direction. I think people are starting to say like, wow, there's some really strong women. Like, it's just as exciting to watch them as it is the men. And there are people that have always felt that way.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that very much. But, you know, it is cool to see more people stick around the whole time, not just come for like flight 3.
Yeah, and that was something that I noticed in July in Erie. I was really excited to see how many spectators showed up. You know, obviously we did an all-female flight because we had so many female full power and so many female bench only. And
Yeah.
you know, I wanted you guys to have the main stage. Like, this is your time, this is your day. I mean, not your day, because we had, you know, full power one day and bench only the next, but I was really excited to see how many spectators showed up to watch the female full power and the female bench
Yeah.
only. And, you know, like, that was, I was proud of that. I was proud that people showed up to watch it all.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun. So, all right. So here's one of the questions that you had said earlier you weren't going to go into yet because it was later in the list. So let's talk about your hobbies.
So outside of powerlifting, like I said, I'm a mom. So probably my favorite thing to do is stuff with my son. We're really into hiking. That's like a big thing that we like to do. So we're working on the Fire Tower Challenge, which in New York State, those are like smaller mountains. And there's like a challenge where if you do a certain number of them, you get like a patch and stuff. And then when probably starting this next summer, we'll do some of the bigger mountains together, the high peaks in New York State. But we love that. We love anything outdoors. We go camping in the summer. We like to travel, even just like look on Facebook and see what events are happening, and we'll go check out something new. He loves going to antique stores. That's like one of his favorite things to do. And there's a couple like right near where we live. So sometimes we'll just do that, but he's my little best friend, and I love just doing stuff with him. I also am obviously a really big science nerd. I'm a science teacher, and I'm, you know, into doing, I actually haven't made videos in a minute because I needed kind of a break from COVID because I made so many, but I have a YouTube channel that's science stuff. And I'm always reading and learning new science things to do and science activities. So anything science, I'm really into as a hobby. And then outside of that, just hanging out with friends. I like to host brunch at my house and go out to brunch, basically eating anything. I mean, if I'm eating somewhere, like, that's a hobby. So that's pretty much it. Travel, music, you know, the normal stuff. But lifting is definitely a big hobby for sure.
Well, I may very well hit you up whenever my daughter has chemistry questions. Right now she's in physics and she's doing fantastic. She finished most of her chemistry. I don't know that she'll have to take any more of it because she did it online, but we are not big fans of chemistry class. Not that we don't love chemistry, I said we don't understand it. So
Oh, it's all right.
I'll be like, oh, hey, we can text Jen. She'll know.
Yeah, anytime. But most people don't like chemistry. I'm keep moving this around. I'm trying, it's starting to get dark, and I'm trying to.
Well, I'm only going to keep you for one more minute. I have one last question for you, and then I will I'll let you get off of here. My last question is just any advice that you would give to either or both, younger lifters or, just lifters in general in the sport? Newer lifters, younger lifters?
I would say if there's a, like, for newer lifters or younger lifters, people that are like just getting into the sport, is just to stick with it and be patient. Don't get too caught up in, like, it's okay to admire people, but I wouldn't get too, like, there is a little bit of drama in powerlifting.
A little bit?
And I would, yeah, I would say to just avoid that. Just like kind of stay in your lane a little bit. Try to just get better, set goals for yourself and shoot to achieve those goals. And a really big thing is, I would say, well, two things. One is to train smart, because obviously you want to avoid being injured. And probably a good segue into the second point, coming off of not wanting to get injured, is don't be afraid to reach out to people for help, because clearly it is a sport where you can get hurt pretty seriously. So having a crew is like the best thing ever, having people to train with, for safety purposes as well. But I love having my crew to train with because we like bounce ideas off of each other. Like, I don't have a formal coach, I have a crew, and we I do all my own programming. But we always, like, especially for squats, we go in and like bounce ideas off of each other or help each other improve. There's a lot of knowledge in my gym. So I'm always asking people that know more than me, like, what do you think of this? What can I do to improve? Or I'll reach out to a friend who even lives in a different state that I know knows more than me. So in this sport, in strength sports in general, you're never, if you are the strongest person in the room, or you think you're the strongest or think you're the smartest person in the room, then you need to look for a different room to, like, because you can always learn something new from somebody who's more knowledgeable than you are.
Right.
And you can never learn too much to get, in your goal to get stronger.
Sorry, I wasn't trying to cut you off. My nurse was actually calling as you were talking. I was trying to get Barry to take the phone.
No, it's okay.
So, no, yeah, I agree with you completely. And I think that's one of the biggest fears that people have, is asking for help. And I think some of it goes back to the whole fangirl, fanboy thing. It's like, oh, look, that's Bob Merck. Send Bob Merck a message, because he'll answer. Send Jen Hazzard, send Leah Reichman. These people are so approachable. And I think that's something that newer lifters don't realize, is these people are approachable. They want to help.
Yeah, for sure.
So
I've had, especially young female lifters will message me and ask questions. And every once in a while, like, somebody will be like, oh my God, I can't believe you answered me. And I'm like, of course I would answer you. Why wouldn't I? Like, why wouldn't I?
And I guess I should add to that. I'm not offering Bob and Leah's services and just saying, hey, everybody, text Bob and Leah. What I'm saying is, if there's somebody that you're not sure about, or if you want some help and there's somebody that you're watching, reach out to them. What's the worst that can happen? They don't answer. Like,
right. And a lot of times, like, if somebody messages me, for something like coaching or something like that, that isn't really something that I do. Like, I have written, some programming here and there, but it's not something that I do professionally. Like, I don't have I already have a full-time job, and I have 2 side jobs. So it's not really something that I even have the time for. But I know a lot of people who do that, and I can point you in the right direction and maybe like help out a friend of mine in the process. You know what I mean? That's what
even
I was if a person,
we all have so many resources.
Right.
Yes, just reach out. We have resources. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, girl, I am going to let you hop off of here. I know you're freezing cold. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I want you to know that I understand how important your time is, and I want you to know how much I value your time. So thank you so much for taking time out of your day, out of your life, to sit down and talk to me. And I hope that you know how much I appreciate this. It means the world to me. So thank you.
Of course. I loved it. I wish I could hang out with you more often.
Well, I will, worst case scenario, I will see you probably in March. I would assume in March in Ohio.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going out to the Arnold. You're to the Arnold, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll see you there.
Awesome. Well, if I don't see you before then, I will absolutely see you in March in Ohio.
All right. Have a
All
good
right,
night. It was
well-
nice talking to you.
You two have a great evening and happy Thanksgiving.
Bye, Barry. See you there. See you, Barry.
Bye. We'll talk to you. He said bye.
Bye, guys.
Thanks.